Hello everyone, welcome back. So I've had Russell Vought on my list for quite some time, and I want to look into his health. So this half over here will be his health. He's not very old, he's only 49, looks like 89 to me. He recently went through a divorce, has a couple of daughters. And other than that, I didn't care to do any more research other than, I already know. He's the head of the OMB, Office of Management and Budget. He and Curtis Yarvin and another dude were the major authors of Project 2025. Looks like a Nazi to me. So I'm going to do his health over here and his political and legal future over here with the Kipper, with Cheryl Marchetti's Kipper. Okay. What is the state of this man's health and future health? There. Oops. Okay, so the forces in motion within his body and soul, with the Seven of Cups, well, I don't know if he is very, very healthy at all. I mean, this is kind of poisonous. This is a person who he really needs to get, in alignment with his soul. He's not at all. He's in the darkness here. And all the control and money and riches and all of that in the world is not going to make a person happy. It's really not about that at all. He doesn't know that, so he may have had many incarnations, but he's not a young soul. Or, I'm sorry, not an old soul. He's definitely a young soul who just didn't evolve. But anyway, I feel like he's had maybe some dangerous sex partners, and maybe has picked up an STD or something. He's got some poisons going on, is what I'm getting here. Maybe his lungs are not so healthy. Yeah, let's see. Okay, his challenge, which is the Eight of Wands, but I read challenges as reversals, so I just flip it right around there. And so with the Eight of Wands reverse, when it comes to health, this is somebody, breathing problems. He may even fall down. I think he gets headaches a lot. I think he gets headaches often. He goes into a lot of frustration, and now on one level he's kind of like a master at delaying things and thinking like way out into the future. You can imagine what it took to plan Project 2025. And I think you guys have told me that Curtis Yarvin is like trying to take off to, was it Argentina? So he's already seeing the writing on the wall. But this guy, he might be a little delayed in judgment because of the toxins, and maybe he's like a big smoker or something. There's that possibility. But anyway, he's not breathing well. When it comes to health, headaches, not breathing well, he may have an exercise injury or some other kind of a fall. His biggest challenge is that his timing is off, because it belonged in another century, not where we are now, right? Oh my goodness. And then where he's sitting, so his karma, his major karma, has to do with the Ten of Cups here coming through reverse. This is these are his sick judgments on LGBTQ people. This card would also represent maybe the fact that he grew up in a very dysfunctional family, right? Broken home, dysfunctional family. uh, chaotic type of environment, and that affected his health. So, and then also on another level, I think he gets a lot of bad health advice. He probably goes for what all the, the wealthy tech bros are doing and thinks that that's great and whatever. And he's going to, like, maybe he'll get a Neuralink chip planted in his head, or maybe he already has one and it's not so good. Sometimes this card has the meaning of nutritional deficiencies as well, and then sometimes it's an unexpected surgery that kind of throws the family upside down. But he's already divorced, so this makes sense to me too. And he might be stewing in that, and that could be affecting his health. It's like, now what? And maybe he had a big payout settlement, something like that he's still pissed off about. Oh, actually, I should bring these up. That's right. Closed captioning often goes down at the bottom. Okay, so in the past, with the Three of Cups reversed, definitely abundance issues, feminine, women issues with women. But when it comes to health, it's depression. It can be overindulgence. He could be a big drinker and a smoker. Maybe he strikes me as one of those guys that probably would smoke cigars and drink. Right? Because they think it's so cool. It's like, ugh. So, anyway, pretty repulsive, right? Yeah, but depressed? He's been depressed, at least in the past, and that's kind of pushing things forward. And very, very resentful, and that is not good for a person's health at all. He was in a triangular relationship, so I'm sure he cheated on his wife, and that's the reason. It's also coming from a place of not, there's a lot of gossip that's happened from the betrayal, and he's maybe even be feeling guilty about it. And he's lost his friends and the social life that he had with his wife. That's what I'm getting there. And that's affecting his health. Okay. So up at the top, what's hanging over him health-wise with the Page of Pentacles? Well, this one, this could be a younger, well, he has two daughters, though. This would usually be a boy. It doesn't have to be, though. But this could be one of his younger children that is, maybe he's having the most problems with. This is also a card indicative of financial problems and, bad health news. Could very well be that. Problems regarding financial opportunities. That, because these kinds of people, they think that money and wealth. That's why we've got the Seven of Cups right out here at the beginning. They think that wealth is everything, and they don't really know who they are. So there's a lot of problems with money until they get those. They either have to be very wealthy and then very unhappy, or lose their money and try to get it back, and then they find at some point in the evolutionary journey of their soul, they'll find that it's not about money. It's not. I mean, to be self-sufficient and responsible with your finances, yeah, but to hang your self-worth as a human being on how much money and toys you have, no, that's not it. He doesn't get that. But also, this is another card for overindulgence. And he really is, deep down inside, very immature and insecure. And he's feeling very unappreciated. So, and that has to do with the family. So this is interesting. The divorce, and the family issues are very much affecting his health. The Knight of Pentacles in the near future, this is an assassin card. That could affect a person's health. At the least, he's got stomach problems, intestinal problems, and he's, again, not not assimilating foods well. And then this is also a card for an acute illness coming into his future, something, you know, really problematic. So yeah, that's really interesting. If it's not an assassin, it's a, well, I guess you could say it would be an assassin. I mean, it's not like he's president, but you know, he is in a high position. But you know, a dark mercenary that can come in. This is our card for a dark, you know, sniper even, right? But also on another level, he really is stubborn. He's really stubborn, and he's also pretty lazy. So I think he's probably farmed a lot of his work out, and maybe this is like a younger kind of scribe or, you know, person that helped him out, and you know, maybe they'll give us some information at some point. So okay, internally, he thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. I'm sorry, but he's not. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's not inspired. He thinks he is, but he doesn't. What he really, really, really wants, what really inspires him, is to be famous. Okay. Externally, he has, well, maybe he's gone through some childhood abuse with this. Yeah, you know, these all together here. This may be one of those people who, well, that would make sense, right? How he has, you know, it's just, he's been locked in his childhood trauma. That may very well be the case. When the Six of Cups is reversed, it's one of my cards for being stuck in the past, having had childhood abuse and major trauma, possibly molestation. At the very least, it's a lot of misplaced loyalty. And yeah, we could say that is the deal with, you know, with Trump. But when it comes to health, this is dementia and Alzheimer's. So externally, he'll be famous for having, you know, towards his later years, he may already be in those throes of, you know, I mean, people can start in their 40s. It happens. Maybe it runs in his family. So, and maybe that's the reason why we've got all this like smoke and mirrors up here. Maybe maybe he just can't remember shit, and that's part of the reason why he's kind of lazy, because he just goes off into Never Never Land kind of thing. Because, you know, he's got his, you guys have always thought, I have no proof at all, but I've always thought that Alzheimer's really, I mean, unless it's like they had tons of aluminum or some other kind of poisoning or metal poisoning in their blood that caused, you know, the brain to malfunction, or drugs there, oh my goodness. Go online and research what drugs cause dementia and Alzheimer's. You'd be really surprised. So it could be something like that, especially with that Seven of Cups. But I've always thought that it was because of their inability or the not, you know, healing their childhood issues. Because they always remember everything in the past. They remember everything that they're resentful about. They remember, you know, everything when they were kids, and they act like everything's great, or it was terrible and my parents were blah, 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 and they never grow up and take responsibility for what they're going to do in their lives and, you know, have therapy and get the trauma taken care of, and they're stuck in the past. So what if that's the cause of Alzheimer's for most people? It would be so easily treated, right? Just get a good therapist. Okay. Out into the, you know, long-term future, the Ace of Swords, this is surgery. This is surgery. Maybe there's going to be some kind of breakthrough surgical procedure or whatever that can help, you know, heal, because he's definitely headed for Alzheimer's there. And then also, what he's doing as the head of the OMB is ripping away. I mean, he's causing trauma on children, right? It's because of, you know, what he has lined up to rip away Medicaid, to rip away SNAP benefits for over 40 million kids. And, you know, like 80% of kids are in poverty in the USA. And then I guess there's close to like 30% of people, if I remember right, that have mental illness. And then the elderly that's in nursing homes. Like when they find out that this is his fault, right? When a lot of them find out, you could bet there's going to be people coming after them. I remember what Luigi did just with the healthcare thing, right? I'm not condoning any of that, but why do we have this card here? And then externally, they see him as being an abuser. And maybe he did. Maybe he did abuse children. Maybe there's a secret that comes out about that, like physically himself. So, okay, but the outcome for his health with the Nine of Pentacles, this card is ruled by, or this card has the connotations of thyroid issues. It could be a hospital stay. So I don't know. We'll just see how that goes. It's sometimes a person who's allergic to prescriptions and then they have a bad effect. Like it could be something like that. But usually, let me do an extra one there. Yeah, with the Seven of Wands there reversed. This is one of my cards for stroke. Also, brain injuries and heart problems and STDs. So that is interesting there. Let's see what's at the bottom. Yeah, okay. Death and the Devil reversed. So, when he goes, it's going to be because of believing in his own lies. And he might live quite some time, though, because the Devil card can have to do with old age. But he already looks old. But he is going to have some health issues that affect his public persona. There's that as well. Now, it could be that he's one of those guys that just constantly numbs out with drugs and alcohol, and that's what gets him. Or he could sometimes I feel it's more that. Tuning into this guy, I feel like it's that. It's the chronic numbing out. It could even be like something, because this card's ruled by Capricorn, Scorpio and Capricorn with these two cards. It feels to me like it could be death and old age, but that it could also be problems with his bones, like an issue with his bones. Okay, I might get some more, but let me start shuffling with Cheryl Marchetti's Kipper and see what comes through with this one. I did some shuffling already before, but I'll put some fine tuning into it. So with this one, I want to see, like, what's his political future? What's his legal future? You know, is he a reincarnation of somebody from Nazi Germany that maybe went through the Nuremberg trials or died before that? What's the deal? Okay. So with the work, let's see. Move this back here. We've got work right at the center. all about his, well, he's part of a clan. Oh, well, let me get him laid out here. Yeah, he does have legal support. Oh, look at that. Oh, boy. That's his karma. And then over time, wow. Okay. You know what? Hold on. I think you guys saw enough of that, right? Let's do this a little better. Does that work? Okay. Let me bring the lens down a little. Okay, get some more cards going here. But right at the center, what we have is there's somebody that is working for him and not being paid. Now that could have been that Knight of Pentacles reversed. Not being, well, that was really about his health though. But then again, if it's a sniper kind of a person, it could be somebody who's not being paid enough to even get by. This guy's supporting it. Now in his life, that would be Trump. This would be Trump. And these other guys are the younger. So this guy's 50, 55 and older. This guy is anywhere between 30 and 55. So this could be J.D. Vance. Now the people cards, there's 6 of them in the deck. And besides the main male and main female, these other cards can be the stand-in cards for several people. So if you think, okay, this could be somebody else too, or this could even be his ex-father-in-law or his own dad, if he's still alive. But if you think that these are other people, you're probably right, because they can be the stand-in cards for many. So if you put in the comments, could this be so-and-so? I'm probably going to say yes, or give a heart to your comment there. But so this has to do with family and family lineage. This could have to do with his father or his father-in-law. This definitely could be J.D. Vance, but this could also be all the attorneys that work for him, that he is with the Office of Management and Budget. There are a lot of people under his working for him under in his department, and he would have quite the responsibility for other departments as well. But it's his own poverty of spirit that's going to get him the most, and on one level, and then on another level, this is somebody who's not getting by, and it's an enemy to him. So here again we have the confirmation of that Knight of Pentacles reversed. And it's his karma. And in the future, with the automation of AI, there's going to be something that comes full circle. It's going to develop over time. If that card hadn't come through, I wouldn't be doing this, but now I need to give it some more. Okay, so now this would be his wife, and this may very well be his father-in-law. Okay, we have complaints. We have a lot. We have a huge community of complaints against this guy. His wife doesn't trust him anymore, and that's been developing over time for quite some time. It's his soul journey, this whole karmic. He has a very karmic lifetime. Well, we all do, but I mean, he's got the bad karma. There's good karma, right? It's just the law of cause and effect. And then, if you want to call it the law of attraction, I call it the law of affinity. It's basically like attracts like. And then you've got the people that you want to, our higher selves choose for us to incarnate with, so that we can heal issues with certain people. I guess you would call those the soul contracts. So, okay. There are a lot of people who work for him. And I don't know if his wife was involved, at one point with the work that he did. I don't know anything about her, but there have been a lot of meetings, and then there's this other woman. Now this could be his mother-in-law. His wife somehow is giving something as soon as she gets all the I don't know if it's information. This is kind of odd. She's headed that way. She's making big changes in her life. Oh. She has seen the way his mind just goes, and he goes into a loop. I think she has seen the Alzheimer's and the dementia, whatever, the poverty of his spirit, and she's, the down patch she's been through hasn't been easy, but also I think she caught him in bed having a quickie with somebody. And her mother knows about it. Her mother's holding the secret about it. I think if it's not a mother, it would be somebody that's trustworthy, that she trusts, and she's holding the secret or she's shared with her. But for him, his political and I don't see him locked up is the thing. I see him running away. I see him getting away. Oh yeah, to another country. When the subpoenas start coming in, the evidence is there, and maybe there's somebody that got pregnant, or it's more like, for sure, he starts feeling helpless. Yeah. So that's what's going to happen, because they're going to get him for being having the strategy. He's one of the, he had strategery. God, remember George W. He and Curtis Yarvin, and I forget the other guy, or the other people. There's probably a big handful of them that, the authors. This would literally be the authors of Project 2025. But he's got that karma of meeting with younger women and always getting distracted by younger women. See, like the kid here. Here, I'll show you. Wait. Notice how the kid there is grabbing the pocket watch, because that dude is looking at her boobs, right? I think there are going to be complaints that come out, not only about the stealing from families in America. This community card, we could say, is America, but all over the world, people don't want to be living under a dictatorship. It goes too far and they can't get themselves out. We have to get ourselves out. And this is he is one of the men, one of the dark souls who have tried to put us in this place. So that's his karma. And over time, it's probably going to take a year or two, but he's going to take off. When the going gets really rough, it might just be like 1 year. Within 1 year, he starts taking off, and there are secrets that start to come out about his strategy. And even his wife wants to get out of Dodge, I'm thinking here, because maybe it's hard for her, and her daughters to even be associated with that guy. I'm thinking like maybe name change, all of that. But yeah, she knows he's not to be trusted. She's learned the hard way over time. She's been betrayed. she'll give whatever information if it needs to come out, but then I don't see her sticking around either. And I don't know who this younger, well, actually, this would be his daughters. This would be the stand-in card for his daughters. But it could also be a younger woman that, well, and it could be all the young women in America that just file, claims of complaints. This is something, this card here, the adjudication, should be adjudication, but whatever. This has the one of the special meanings of somebody else deciding your future for you. Because he's been stealing. He's been on the take, right? These guys are all getting their cut. And that was his strategy all along. Yeah. But I don't see the dude locked up, darn it. I mean, it's way too many cards here, and I don't have the imprisonment card. I hope I'm wrong about that. Usually the cards are right. It just takes forever to, for the karma to catch up. But anyway, timing is the challenge. But we have timing here. It's like within a year taken off. I mean, 2 years max taken off. But we can't hold out for 2 years on this. Then again, before the 2028 election, I could say, they're running because things go bad. So here's the good news. Whether or not this guy is taken out by a sniper, dies of Alzheimer's, or dies of old age, whatever. Because remember we had the death card and the devil, or has a painful STD. Can you feel my horns coming out here? No matter what happens, what I can say with this reading here is that the shit's gonna hit the fan, big time. We already know which way things are headed. It's just that these people that voted to get these people into power, they have to. I think they have to have a little more. I hate to say it, but a little more pain, right? I mean, and then hopefully, let's just send our prayers out there that everybody gets the truth and they have healing. Let's send them lots of love for healing. And whatever we have to go through to heal is just, that's why we're here on earth. But this looks to me like his strategy doesn't work. He gets caught grifting. Even his wife wants to get out of Dodge. They all want to leave. Well, why would they want to leave? Because it's not going well. The Project 2025 plan fails. And I've read on that before. Gone into it with a pessimistic mind, and then I get good cards for it falling. So, yeah. Well, I just did one the other day about how bad's it going to get, but that was more about ice. But it's all part of it. It's all the same, Project 2025 is just basically, let's create an authoritarian government, get a dictator in charge, and especially one who's a very useful idiot. It's basically Putin's plan, right? But it looks to me like it fails. So, okay, well, thank you for everyone who kept nagging me to do this reading on him and putting it up on the top of my list. I appreciate you. Okay, bye.